Minister Gwede Mantashe has told business delegates at the summit that the just energy transition is a foreign concept to South Africa and thus it must be rolled out on the country's own terms to address our needs as a nation.
It must talk to justice, it must talk to people, it must talk to communities, because the West wants us to be encircled. When you are encircled, you don't think you are a conveyor belt of other people's ideas. That's what developed economies want. They want us to be encircled and be just conveyor belt of their ideas. Please sign this agreement. And BBC can be more vocal and more visible. That's my submission.
Mantashe lauded the work of the Electricity Minister, Dr. Kgosientsho Ramokgopa, which he says will soon see load shedding become a thing of the past. He's expressed confidence that next year's general elections will take place without any power cuts.
With the progress made thus far in this regard, coupled with work done to add more energy to the grid, we are confident that we will see an end to load shedding sooner than anticipated. I can tell you many banked on having load shedding going into the election, then we'll use that to defeat the ANC. And now, it's not going to happen. By the time of election, there will be no load shedding. We'll have resolved that.
The minister formed part of a panel discussion with business on South Africa's sovereignty and the just energy transition.
I would concur with that in terms of we don't need a debate in terms of going green or not, but I would also say that I think the premise for any question that relates to energy should be based on the fact that what kind of economy do we want to have?
We need to understand that the future in terms of energy is a proper energy mix with a strong base load. And the base load that we find ourselves with now is coal. And as Seriti, where we stand, we are mining coal, we'll continue to mine coal into the future. But the plan is to invest in renewables because it's part of the journey to transition. And we're investing in wind energy, and if we come across opportunities in solar, we'll explore those.
The two-day summit also explored views on the country's triple BEE policies 20 years later. Delegates were promised that work has been done to ensure that the concerns raised around the inefficiency of the country's policies do not fall on deaf ears.
We are currently undertaking a process of the comprehensive review of broad-based black economic empowerment policy, legislation and implementation instruments as the ANC Economic Transformation Committee. We ourselves initiated it to say, okay, we've seen the first wave, we've seen the progress, but we've also seen the limitations in the current regime that we have for transformation and empowerment. Therefore, we need a review. We need to ensure that we're able to confront problems of fronting, problems of access to financing.
Government says work is underway to tap into the country's gas and petroleum resources to mitigate against South Africa's energy crisis. There's a need for an energy mix with a base load as part of the journey towards South Africa's economic transformation. Calls for investments from companies here in various energy initiatives, with government saying that the processes towards getting the country's energy right must speak to the National Development Plan and efforts towards ensuring that the country's triple BEE policies find meaning. SABC News, Kempton Park.